What's up? Ian from Powerhouse Miniatures. I'm back again with a painting tutorial, tips and tricks on true metallic gold. So I've done a few of these now, one on red and one on some like slime effects that I've been doing. So it's true metallic gold. This is the Captain Cassius guy from Deathwatch Overkill. It's all-time Cassius, I think. Ignore the rest of the model because there's just a few base coats at the minute. I'm just sort of working on this one for eBay. So on the true metallic gold, I'm going to work predominantly on this, the Crozius Arcanum, whatever it is, on the left arm. So I've got one base coat down, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I use a few non-metallic techniques, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it's creating a gold effect, or a silver effect, or a metallic effect without actually using a paint that's got metallic pigment in it. So it would be various shades of brown and yellow that make it look like gold, really classic like art theory stuff. And I can't really do it justice in an explanation like that, so go and find it online if you want to know more. But this is true metallic metals, as in the paint physically has gold flecks in it, or not real gold, but metallic flecks in the paint. A few of them, and then I personally use, and again this is just me, it's just what I sort of do. Some of the non-metallic metal techniques, as in some of the shades that you would typically find in a non-metallic technique, to shade true metallic metals. So the base one that I use most is Gehenna's Gold from Citadel. Again, I'll have all these on screen on like a little annotation thing. But Gehenna's Gold, Auric Armour, and then I use what's it called? Chrome. Vallejo Chrome Model Air. So that's like a really white, like probably the lightest sort of silver you can get, and you use a little bit of dry brush for that thing. So if you want to join in, I've got Vallejo Extra Opaque Heavy Violet, I've got Caliban Green, Rhinox Hide, Mornfang Brown, Agrax Earthshade, Seraphim Sepia, Gehenna's Gold, Auric Armour Gold, Cassandora Yellow, Lamenter's Yellow. I've got Vallejo Model Air Metallic Chrome. The thing's rubbed off, I can't see it. I'm sure it's called Chrome. Anyway, that one. And two brushes. Winsor & Newton 0 and a Winsor & Newton 00, both Series 7. The tip's going a little bit on my 0, which is kind of annoying, but whatever, I should have took better care of it. Anyway, so I've got one base coat of Gehenna's Gold in there, so I'm just going to put another one on. Mix this correctly, because this in particular has a red medium, and the red medium really comes through. So if you open it up now, you can see there, that's not the colour it's probably supposed to be. It's like really red. So if you mix it up, you get like the actual colour, which is close to that, which is much lighter on the outside. So if you've got the time, shake it up for a few minutes. Like, time yourself, because you won't be shaking it that long, but do it for literally 2 minutes, because get a good effect then. So it should be alright. So there it is. So a little bit of water. I don't mix them down too much. I personally as well have a bit of a habit of using them straight out of the pot, which is fine if you just take it a bit there. But generally, you'd use you'd use a palette. So they dry really fast, which is cool. And if you do too thick a layer without really, without watering it down or having water on the brush to start off with, the Games Workshop ones can clump, which means it'll sit inside the crevices and stuff in the model, potentially ruining some of the details. That has happened once, twice. Not often if you're careful. And a trick would be to, like now, turn the model wherever you can, and then paint away from the crevices, like so. So you take the brush off the model where you want the most paint to be. So I want the paint to be on the surfaces, so I paint towards the surface, or the raised surfaces. Get inside all these little bits as well. So yeah, so I'm halfway through painting this one. Really cool, the Deathwatch Overkill models. And another thing as well, I usually wear gloves. Sometimes the oils on the fingers will leave a fingerprint on the model. So having big hands and that, I either use blue tack them onto a paint top, or wear a pair of gloves. You can get latex gloves on eBay for £1 or something, so just get a few of them, buy them in the shops and that. Or just whatever, eBay. I've got these cool black ones that I think tattooists use, which is kind of cool. So So just there like that. So again, the crevice is in the centre, obviously, of the pattern. So I'm just painting away from that. Right. So wash your brush off again. Make sure the brush is really clean from these, because sometimes the pigment seems to be really thick. Like the individual pieces of metal in the pigment seem to be really thick, so it gets stuck in the brush. So really wash that off for a second. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So these are going to dry just for a second, and I'm going to pause the video while it does dry. Just get these bits done on the side, just making sure you've took everything. A big thing for me was just like stopping and then looking around everything just to make sure you've got it, like just taking a second and just thinking like, right, turning it around from all the angles. See, I've missed a little bit there, which I would have missed otherwise. So just there on the inside, over there like so, and yeah, across this edge like that. So yeah, we're going to take a minute to just dry. Now, you can take away any of these steps. Like I'm going to do 3 or 4 different ones just to show them off. But I think altogether, you can use like just sepia or just the Agrax Earthshade, and that'd be really quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that first, and then you can add some like extra layers in later on if you want. You know, to sort of just do your thing. And I'll show you a few speed painting techniques, which is what I'm actually going to do. I'm not going to sit and sort of like edge highlight every single one of the feathers of this little thing. I'm going to show you one of the really quick techniques that I used to do it. So again, it's the same as anything. It's about striking that balance between speed and quality. So, and this one, yes, you could go through with a fine brush. Yes, you absolutely could, and you know, edge highlight every single little bit and go, you know, and go through. But it'd take half an hour, and that's not. I mean, even though it'd add a lot to the model. Some of these in particular, just a tabletop thing. If you are a commission painter, you can't make money doing that very often. And you know, it looks great, but like I said, it's just a bit of a time sink. So that's it. So I would usually I'd start off with a wash of Seraphim Sepia, but say in this one I'm going to go straight to Agrax Earthshade. I've got these big tubs which are cool, but see in the bottom there, the pigment catches, so you've got to shake them. Again, same as always. I've always got to shake them, but shake this up real nice. Give it a few seconds, longer than I would, or longer I'm going to in this video certainly. So there it is. Probably sounds really dodgy off the camera, doesn't it? So pretty much dry now. Pretty much dry. I might cock it up a little bit, but I think it's no. In fact, no. I'm going to pause. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to pause, and then I'll come back in a second when it's fully dry. Right. So the Gehenna's Gold is dry now. I'm going to get the Agrax Earthshade. Open it up, and then with my zero brush, bit of water. And then I'm going to paint the gold straight on. So the thing straight on, really thick just for now, just whatever, just get it all done. And then you can take it off with just clean the brush off, and then you can take some of it back off by just putting the brush to one side like that. So you can get like again, you can see it's going in all the little recesses and shaded it all real nice. Just going to keep that there. If it is slightly wet still, you're going to pick up a few of the gold pigments on the brush, so you're going to be able to redistribute them around the model. So you don't want that. So you're going to make sure that it's fully dry first. Otherwise, like this, if you put in the brush straight in the top, you'll ruin the top part as well, which obviously you don't want. So straight in. So the technique for this, which I've obviously just done the opposite, is paint into the recesses, the opposite than you do the layering. So like from out to in, just like that, and then from this side, from out, just like that, into in. Keep washing the brush off, just making sure, like that. There you go, and then just make sure I've not missed anything. So that layer looks really good, like straight away when you've washed the model. All the details come out straight away, so that's like a really favourable step. So again, just going to take a second just to make sure. So I've got it from this angle, make sure I've got all the areas washed properly. Yeah, looking pretty good. Right, so that does take a minute to dry, and that definitely you should wait for. So what I would normally do for the speed painting thing is work on a few of the other details. You know, keep working on the base coats. I'd usually do all the base coats first before I wash anything else. So I think while this is drying, I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to work on a few of the base coats thing. I'm probably going to do, I'm going to wash a few of the areas or work up a few of the other base coats and stuff. Or I might not. We'll see. So yeah, I'm just going to pause it now, and then you'll see me when it's dry. Cheers. Right, so it's all dry now. We've got Gehenna's Gold and Agrax Earthshade, nice and dry in the corners. So next one is going to be Auric Armour Gold. Now, if you were going for, like, again, the highest technique possible, or like the best technique possible, what you would do is over these little wing bits, you'd reapply Gehenna's Gold. So if there's any parts that were like too dark, or whatever, you know, you could work it. And then also when you put that on, and you find out where you're going to put the with the Gehenna's Gold, that will also serve to show where you would then apply the next highlight, which is Auric Armour Gold. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you like the highlight layer first with Auric Armour Gold, and then that's sometimes you could just leave it there if you want, and then anything else will be like an additional step. So in terms of speed painting, this is what I'd do. And obviously, while the video's been paused, I've done a few like little base coats and stuff. But this is what I'd, for the fastest technique possible, that looks the best in the shortest period of time. And again, don't mean anything negative by speed painting. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. If you can get a good effect quick, then fine. But obviously, the main point is that it's still a good effect. It's not you've rushed. There's no cutting corners. It's just you've done it fast. So normally I would do all the gold at the same time, but just to show this off, I'll just do it separate. So I'm going to do some of the Auric Armour. So again, this one needs shaking. It has like a cloudy, like a milky white, a medium with it. But again, you just need to mix in properly. If you've got proper time, I'd say, you know, I probably should have done this off camera, but shake it up for a couple of minutes. Just like that, looks alright. So with a 0 again. A bit of water on the brush, and then like I said, I use it straight out of the pot half the time. I think that's a bit of a no-no, but it's just what I do, just to show you. So painting from shade towards light, if you know what I mean. So you got like this. The tips of all the little feather bits. And again, don't worry about going into the recesses at this time, because you can do another shade. Or if you do go into the recesses, just don't worry. Like, you're obviously going to make mistakes. You're going to cock it up from time to time. But don't worry about that, because you can reapply in a second. So I get that in the centre of the screen, you can see. Nice. Like that. So it is quick, and it's not going to be like the neatest thing possible. I'm going to put a bit there. You know, it's not like the most amazing, neatest technique you've ever seen in your life. And you shouldn't be going for that really either. It's not, perfection's not really possible. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not an attainable goal. I think it's just one of them things you try out. You find something that works. So that, again, the brush angle's right. So if I'm going left to right, just doing a little bit there, then that's fine. But obviously, the way that after a bit you're going to intuitively find out how to paint certain shapes, and that's like a colour theory thing again. So the angle of the brush isn't conducive to flick, you know, inwards outwards. So I'm going to turn the model around, like so. And like I said, I'd normally be wearing gloves or something, so you wouldn't necessarily be touching any areas of the model with your hands, because the oil from the fingers, I believe, can sometimes leave like finger marks or fingerprints, which you don't want. Right, that's pretty much that. And then again, from where the model is, so like I'm going to do this bit here, and then like this bit on the inside, just there. And then the outside the same. Again, for me it's mostly, I don't know if other people do that, but it's mostly the same. It's about the brush angle. So like, I'm really accurate going like this, do you know what I mean? Like up top to bottom. So I've positioned the model correctly like that, a bit like the airbrush. That's how you get the best sort of thing. And I use straight out of the pot. Works for me, might not work for you, but it's just a little things just there. Again, going to do a bit in the centre. There's a little ultramarine symbol on the skull. Otherwise, I'd paint it different. So just there. And then yeah, if you go inside the little recesses there, don't worry, because you'll be able to you can reapply the Agrax Earthshade and it'll redo it, or you can do it as I'll show in a minute. You can do like a black line technique with just the straight paint. So this bit the same. I said, same as always, this is just how I do it. Like, there's no correct way, obviously. It's just tips and tricks, odd little things I've picked up. So again, a lot of it's brush work, just do it like that, on the edges. So as the shape of each feather gets successionally, successionally small, it's not even a word, is it? Gets gradually smaller towards the inside, you do like slightly less of a highlight in terms of like area of the model, like that. So that's pretty much it. You got nice little transitions there. So from a distance, looks great straight away. If you're rushing, or if you not in a negative way rushing, but if this was going to be like the thing, you could leave it like that. If you just reshaded it. So in this situation, again, to add a different tone in, I would shade that with Seraphim Sepia. It re-establishes all the recesses and all the little bits of detail and stuff. So like there, you can sit and let that dry for a minute, and then some of the areas it will like correct the little mistakes you've made with the Auric Armor Gold, obviously, because you'll definitely make mistakes. Like, you'll make mistakes all the time. It's about I think the easiest thing is not to make them in the first place, but like you're still gonna, like, you're not going to be perfect. So there, if you're looking at the model, obviously it's that's probably the angled photograph from, probably like there, or there or something, so you can get everything in. So you know that this is facing the sky and this bit's facing the bottom. So that with the secondary colours, because of the way it's positioned, it's almost diagonal. So it's like that'd be straight on. So it's at like a 45-degree angle. So from there, from top to bottom, I'm going to shade with like a different colour, and top to bottom, which is like the gold, and then the shade just in there. And then I'm going to shade off this bottom rung just there. I'm going to shade this bottom rung and this inside this part, and then the underneath of the skull, which is where the natural light would fall on the model. And then from this side, because that's facing the sky, this is going to be lighter, just a bit of shade in there. And then this side, it's going to be light towards the very middle and the very the side of the skull facing the sky. I'm going to shade off this little edge bit, or it's not going to be as bright as the others. It's just you pick up an intuitive thing over time doing this, and I think sometimes actually putting words on it's kind of difficult. I certainly have just never tried before, I don't know. So what I would normally do now, very thin layer of purple, and again, that's really quick, really easy way to add like a nice value to the miniatures. But of course I'm going to also shade it with brown, and again in non-metallics you'd use green as well, and then a bit of a thing over the top. So just a bit of heavy violet. That's too much, but we're going to do it. Right, so I've got the 00 brush now. Bit of water. Now, I would usually use Vallejo or Lamian medium or Vallejo glaze medium, but because I want it to dry, I'm just going to, faster, I'm just going to use water. So same as the wet blending technique, you would introduce the water just to the purple and then let it blend in like that. So it sort of fades together. And then now on the palette, you've got an area of very thin, thick, transition into like the pure paint on one side, so you can like alter it if you like. So I'm going to do it just for now. So do it right in the very recesses first, and then obviously you can do another layer, or you can make it thicker if you like. So I'm just getting the right angle on it. It's like there. Just on the very bottom half. Clean the brush off, and then with just water take away some of that being, sort of like wet blend it in like so, and that creates like a little, again just wash the brush off thing, creates little blends like there. So straight away that adds a really nice value in, with no time. Okay, something like 10 minutes in it, outside of drying times. So this one just in there, a bit more. Right, so like that. So straight away you've got like a nice little purple effect. While it's still wet, I'm going to reduce that just a little bit. So that's it. Right, so there you go. And then on the inside of the skull, just there, I'm going to like very, very, very thin layer of the purple just to sort of blend it all in. And then on the centre part, it's like just there, where we've got like the flat bit. Do the, if on just this line here, I've got dark to light, put it in the shade area, just put it like, use your noggin. And then same on the side, down the top. There you go. And then from, like I said, from the top, this area is facing the sky, so that's going to have a lot of the shade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the shade down at the very bottom, just there. Wash the brush off, kind of wet blend that in, like so. And then across the bottom, because the model's like going to be, you know, like this, I'm going to do it across this bottom bit, the bit most facing the ground sort of thing. Like I said, you'll get an intuitive idea of how to do that before long. And just in this corner as well. And then just like feather that in. So you can see there that I've got like a slightly more of the shade facing down in this corner, because that's the side sort of like facing the ground, and then less on this one because it will be naturally lighter with the light hitting it better. And then a very, very thin, almost translucent, a little bit just on the inside of the skull. Get that shot. Just get it there. So when it dries, you can hardly see it, but like I think the brain knows it's there, the mind knows it's there. So straight away, again, 10 minutes in, you've got 4 different colours straight away. The base coat, Gehenna's gold, the highlight of Auric armour gold. You got Agrac's earth shade, and then you got the purple straight away. And that's, I would normally leave it there. That's what I would do. Looks great, takes no time, whatever. But it's got like 3 or 4 different shades, tones, all the rest of different transitions and stuff. It looks really good. So that's what I'd normally do with a bit of an edge highlight. And with some of these, a very thin edge highlight of like one of the chrome, the Vallejo chrome, and you're pretty much done. But what I'm gonna do is like show you some of the like the black lining techniques and stuff. So I'd either use Mornfang brown or Rhinoxide, or both basically. Mornfang brown first because it's a slightly lighter shade, and then Rhinoxide in the thing, and then you do it like a black line. So I'm gonna get a little bit of Mornfang brown. I'm just gonna shake him up. And then, so I normally work straight out of the pot, and I probably shouldn't do that, but we're going to do. So I'm going to put it on there. We want it watered down just a little bit, just like that. So it's like, I don't know, 50-50 with water or something. So it's almost like a glaze, you know. And then in the very edges, around the very recesses, sorry, just going to work that in. So just there, just in the centre, and again, because I haven't done the, just made a mistake there. If you do make a mistake, wash the brush off, and then you can just wipe it off with the brush, and it usually gets rid of like any of the unsightly lines. Otherwise, you probably, again, you're definitely not supposed to do this, but you can sort of rub it with your finger. Anyway, yeah, so this is very similar to just doing another wash of the Seraphim Sepia if you've got like if you made a mistake with the Auric armour gold with a highlight. So just go back through again. Go over the bits you've done with purple as well. Obviously, like it'll stack together, sort of like between that and the purple, will make a real dark thing. So I just nudge the camera again. So straight in there, and then down there as well. Now, if you wanted there, you could, and I'll just show you each individual feather like that. You could go through, and if you're doing a really high level technique, that's exactly what you do. You know, to make, I will do it just to show you, but just to make a very nice definition between each one of the things. Just like that. And again, so I just made a mistake there. You can see where I've just like done it too much. Got the clean brush and just like push it back into the recess. And then in between each one. Right, so I'm going to do the other side. Clean brush. A bit more of the paint on the palette. And then, like I said, I draw on my hands, probably shouldn't, but what are you going to do? So yep, you got the thing just in the corners just there. This one. In this bit, just there, in this corner, just there, and then across there. And then, yeah, just like, again, no time at all, and you've got, oh yeah, sorry, in this, on the flat bits just there as well, right in the very corner. So that sort of show this one up. Straight away, so you've got like, that's 5 different colours now, 5 different shades. You've got definition, a couple of shades, a wash, a highlight, stuff like that. And if you're going to keep going, you could stop at any point. You could stop at any of these layers, and it'll look great, or it looks fantastic from a distance, from all the way back here already. It looks cool, and you can see everything. But a final edge highlight, I usually do a dry brush with a silver, just from a certain distance. But again, I'm not the best out there by a long way, but it's just how I do stuff, and like tips and tricks. And again, a lot of stuff for me is just really knocking out good looking like tabletop stuff, like it's fast. It sounds really negative. I'm not trying to be like that. It doesn't matter if it's fast. I'm not talking like cutting corners again, but just to do a good effect in a relatively short period of time. So yeah, we're going to do the edge highlight now, and then if you wanted to, around the very, well, for now, in fact, I'll just show you. They've got this Rhinox hide, which needs shaking up, which is darker than Mournfang brown, so you can see that there it's like really dark brown. So we get a little bit of that again with the 00 Winsor & Newton brush, just around the side. So just on there, if I went across all the recesses with the brown, I'm going to do a very small amount, just mix with a little bit of water, just in the very darkest points, which is going to be there in the corner, and there across the corner. Across the join where the skull joins up to the wings, just a bit like a black line. And the same on this side, just on the inside there. On the inside of the little crevice thing. And the same on the other side. So right where the skull joins the wings, which is where obviously like the dark would not, or the light wouldn't fall in real life. Obviously there'd be a natural shadow there from this angle. So I'm going to do it like that. And then from the other side. So again, for me, a lot of it's like brush angle, getting it in, and so you're not flicking in an uncomfortable angle with the brush. And then if you wanted to, a very thin layer of this, like so, and you can see there that we've created like light at the top, fading across, like, you know, laterally down to the bottom. So you put a little glaze of the dark brown, wash your brush off, like wet blend that just at the bottom, so it's very thin, but it establishes areas of light and dark, and sometimes the purple can be a bit garish, so you can do that on this side as well. Then wipe the brush off, bit of water, and then sort of like feather that back in, almost like a glaze on a certain area, and across the bottom of the skull, just there where it's like where it would be the darkest in real life. And then same with the other side, I'll do a little glaze on the bottom, so just there, and it'd be on this side, and then just there. So hopefully you can see all that. And then water, feather it in, right. So that's pretty much it. And then these little edge pieces just here like that. Just a little line in the very darkest point. Right, so straight away, like it is a combination of true metallic and non-metallic really, and I'll do a separate video on non-metallic, even though I'm kind of crap at it. But that's pretty much it. So, like I said, you'd use a combination of Rhinox hide and Mournfang brown. You can stop at any one of these layers, and then sometimes a very small amount of green looks really good. So I'll just show you that as well. I don't necessarily know the technique of where, you know, the theory behind where you'd put the green, but just a very small amount, very thin. Like so, I'm going to put just for example, like just there, just in this corner, and then wet blend it off, like sort of feather it in like that. And then just on this side, I'll put a little bit in. I think you can put that. I don't know where you're supposed to put those glazes, if you know what I mean. But just add a little bit in, from, you know, here and there. And I think the eye really picks it up. So great, it's looking great. And then again, you know, I think the brain knows. So we'll put on this side, we'll put a bit just in the centre at the bottom, and then in a different, like, you know, the same sort of place there at the top. And then we'll feather that off. Wet blend that in. There you go. Very thin, almost imperceptible. But like I said, I think the mind knows, if you know what I mean. I think the brain knows what's what with it. And I think that's half the point, that you're creating values, different tonal values, different colour qualities, or whatever you want to call it, like little buzzwords and shit. So next one is Vallejo Chrome. Excuse me. I'm going to do a little, just basically a dry brush with it. Again, you can go and do the edge highlights. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping. You can do it with edge highlight, but that's just very time consuming. So a small dash of that. Get a crappy old brush that you don't mind mucking up. Right. So this one, which is a medium base brush from Citadel, one of the new ones, but I've just used it as a dry brush, so like after a bit it's absolutely knackered. Get onto the thing. Now I want to rub almost all of it off. So like now it's just the tiniest little amount. And then again, in terms of angle, we want to go top to bottom so that it catches the edges of all this very, very lightly at first. You can add, but you can't take away, that sort of thing. So, or well, easily take away. So on that side, just at the very top, just to give it a little, just to make it pop really. And then other side, exactly the same. So it's all about the angle again. So you know, if you're going to come across like that, the edge of the brush is definitely going to catch all the details. Right. And across the other side. Do several passes and across a bit across the face, but again, it's easy to build up, but it's difficult to take away. So do thin layers first, like that. So hopefully you can see straight away that it's like just picked up all the edges really quick. It took about 10 minutes, looking great. And then from the top of there, what I'm going to do, add a quick glaze. I would do either Cassandora yellow or Lamenter's yellow. Cassandora yellow you can use in the same way as the rest. It's like just a much stronger pigment, but the Lamenter's yellow is obviously a lot subtler, so I'm just going to shake that up. A little bit there. Straight out of the pot with the Winsor & Newton Zero. Little glaze. And then sort of add it onto the gold when you're done. Like that. All over. So I'm mixing it with water, just very thin, again, straight out of the pot. But very, very thin. Too thick and it'll make everything look too yellow, but otherwise, you know, just a little bit. So straight, going from shade to highlight again. It'll blend in all the colours, it'll take away a little bit of the silver, of the edge highlight. It'll blend in the browns, blend in the purples, fade the greens off just a little bit. And there you go. So anything else, I don't really know. This is just my recipe. So altogether you've got all the colours there. Again, I'll have them on the screen. But basically, Kenner's Gold, Orichalcum Gold, with Agrax Earthshade, Seraphim Sepia. In the corners we've got Heavy Violet and some of the green mixed in a little bit. And then a black line, Mornfang Brown, Rhinox Hide. And then yeah, Vallejo Model Air Chrome as an edge highlight. So altogether, hopefully you can see that from there. Looks really, really nice. Again, it takes about 10 minutes, and I would do the entire model, or 10-15 minutes, and I would do the entire model, and I'd work on other stuff, like I've done some of the other base coats and that, while these have been drying. But that looks absolutely lovely, and again, it takes no time, so it's about that balance between speed and quality. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to do a load more of these little videos on all the different colours and shit, but I'll do some tips and tricks about working the other colours and the recipes and stuff that I use for various things, but you can find all the pictures on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Powerhouse Miniatures, and all the other links to everything else you can find is on there. So that's pretty much it. Anything in particular you want to see, let me know, and yeah, cheers for watching.